Part 97, Introducing the Imperial Examination System and Free Education System. Under the gate of the Holy City, everyone gathered around the imperial list and began to discuss. Hey, does anyone know how to read? Hurry up and read what's written on it. The illiterate looked at the characters on the imperial list and became anxious. I guess what's written on this imperial list must be to dissolve the harem and leave the imperial concubine alone. Someone's slightly mocking voice sounded, instantly arousing public anger. In recent days, it has been rumored everywhere that the emperor wants to dissolve the harem, leaving only the emperor's imperial concubine, which has aroused the dissatisfaction of many people. In particular, it was rumored that Yi Yang was a demon concubine who brought disaster to the country and came to the Holy Dynasty of cholera. This imperial concubine is simply a demon concubine, who actually confuses the emperor and asks the emperor to dissolve the harem. People with a heart began to fan the flames in the crowd, leading public opinion to Yi Yang. This imperial concubine is going too far. He wants to dominate the entire harem by himself. This is simply not taking the rules established by our ancestors into consideration. Some people began to criticize Yi Yang indignantly. Those who have no opinion are quickly moved by those who have a heart, and they join in the remarks condemning Yi Yang. Only a gentle and handsome man looked at the words on the imperial list seriously. And when he read the words over and over again, he was sure that he was not mistaken, and he shouted in excitement. My God, oh my God, what a great thing! Those who were close to him were attracted by him, and asked curiously, what is written on this imperial list? It's a good thing, from now on. The poor will be noble people, you can also have a precious child. The gentle and handsome man was so excited that he couldn't help himself. What kind of poor family can have a noble child? What does this mean? Can you explain it a bit more clearly? Some people were puzzled, and the literate people immediately went to see the imperial list, wanting to see what was written on it. The gentle and handsome man did not sell his tricks, and explained excitedly. From now on, our Holy Dynasty will implement the imperial examination system. As long as there is a talented person, whether it is the son of the common people, the son of an official, or the son of a businessman, they can take the imperial examination. If you win the title of #1 champion in the country, you will be able to sit directly above the 6th rank official position. Hiss! The breathless voices rose and fell to each other. The son of the common people can become an official without being a member of the aristocratic family? Is there such a good thing in the world? The gentle and handsome man did not care about the shocked people, and continued, there is also good news. From August this year, all children of the Holy Dynasty can enter the school for free as long as they are 6 years old. The more the man talked, the more excited he became. With such a dynasty, why would he not be prosperous? Quiet! Everyone opened their mouths wide and looked at the handsome man with disbelief. After a long time, someone finally broke the quiet atmosphere. This gentleman, is what you said true? Sir, I don't dare to be. I am just an ordinary person who knows a few words. The handsome man looked modest. With his little knowledge, he really didn't dare to smear the name of master. Everyone looked at the gentle and handsome man who suddenly became humble and anxious. They don't care whether he is a master or not, but want to know whether children in this country can go to school for free? You must know that in this era, if the people want their children to shine on the lintel, they must use the power of the whole family to raise a child, and then learn the knowledge and send it to the deceased family, and then let the aristocratic family recommend it. This formed a very bad drawback, because once the aristocratic family was requested, they had to change the child's surname to join the aristocratic family and become a member of the aristocratic family. Despite this, Ma family can live a good life. But changing the surname still makes many people unacceptable. Therefore, some people learn knowledge, but still do nothing, which makes the already poor families even poorer. This is why the power of the aristocratic family can threaten the royal family. The other man who had read the imperial list was equally excited. Seeing that everyone was curious about whether what the gentle and handsome man said was true, he said, "Everyone. It is written on the imperial list that all the people who are full years of age on the first day of the 8th month of this year are all over the place. Children 6 years old and above can go to school to learn knowledge." When they heard it was true, everyone was so excited as if their children had won the champion, and ran to their homes to share the good news with their families. As for the fact that they were talking about Yi Yang's demon concubine, they had long since been thrown out of the sky. When the patriarchs of the major families learned of this, they were so angry that they threw their cups. "Damn! Isn't this emperor really afraid that we will turn against us?" The patriarch of the Bai family in the holy city sat in the first place and slapped the table in anger. The members of the Bai family below all chose to remain silent. They are not stupid. If they say the wrong word at this time, they are very likely to face the baptism of the anger of the family owner. Seeing that the people below were silent, the head of the Bai family said angrily, "Don't you have anything to say? Whatever you say now is wrong." Everyone murmured in their hearts, but no one dared to say it. Now that the emperor has introduced the imperial examination system, there will be no shortage of officials in the court. Even if they are dismissed, there will be new people to replace them. As for the rebellion, let's forget it. Not to mention that they don't have an army now. Even if there is an army, they will only have to admit defeat in the face of General Mo's superb combat ability. What? Persuade General Mo to rebel? Forget it. I didn't hear General Mo send someone to send a letter saying that whoever dares to betray the emperor will be killed without mercy. A general who captured the Jinghe kingdom with hundreds of thousands of troops in just over a month, wouldn't it be as simple as cutting vegetables to kill them? So, let's forget about rebellion. Isn't he good at peaceful life and guarding his current official position? Why don't you put your head on your trousers and bet tomorrow? Also, this emperor is only disbanding the harem, not robbing their wife, so what does it have to do with them? There are not a few people who are as angry as the patriarch of the Bai family. But they only dare to denounce the emperor in their own homes, and do not dare to trouble the emperor. After all, someone threatened the emperor with dismissal a few days ago. But the emperor readily agreed, dismissed the ministers who offered to dismiss him on the spot, and immediately mobilized his cronies to replace the dismissed officials. This made the ministers who wanted to continue to threaten the emperor with dismissal not dare to mention the matter of dismissal. Especially when the emperor launched a national scientific examination in mid-July, and the ministers who wanted to threaten the emperor with dismissal were even more frightened. This great reform left a legend in the history books. And those who did not know about it in later generations thought it was Emperor Shengdu who took advantage of the dissolution of the harem to weaken the strength of the family. In the room of the head of the Luo family, Luo Wu stood by with a respectful expression, telling the news he had inquired about these days. "Master, this Emperor Shengdu has launched the imperial examination system now, which has made many poor people eagerly awaiting the imperial examination in mid-July." Luo Wu's expression showed a touch of anxiety. He had thought that Emperor Shengdu would usher in a hard blow. Who would have thought that Emperor Shengdu could easily resolve the current predicament? What kind of expert advice is there around this Emperor Shengdu? Why can you think of such a novel idea? Although Luo Yunxiao hated that Emperor Shengdu was surrounded by capable people who helped him, he admired him more. If you admire the intelligence of the other party and the way of thinking of the other party, why do you always come up with ideas that ordinary people dare not think of? As for the rumors from outsiders that Yi Yang was secretly helping Emperor Shengdu, he directly chose to ignore it. It's not that he hasn't seen Yi Yang before, just with Yi Yang's way of thinking. It is impossible for him to come up with so many wonderful ideas in his life. He felt that Emperor Shengdu should have a real genius beside him. But Emperor Shengdu was afraid that he would be framed in secret, so he hid him and used Yi Yang as a shield. If Yi Yang knew Luo Yunshao's thoughts, he would definitely give a thumbs up and praise. It's awesome, it's a pity not to write novels with this brainhole. And Yi Yang in the palace, for the first time, was attacked by a group of people. The minister was besieged. Looking at the ministers with anger on their faces, Yi Yang tried his best not to show timidity, straightened his back, and looked directly at the ministers opposite. Everyone. You trespassed into my Jinghong Hall like this, believe it or not, I'll sue you for trespassing in a private house? Yi Yang was very upset with this group of uninvited guests, and dared to ignore his orders and break into his Jinghong Hall without authorization. Imperial concubine, you are a noble concubine of a country, you should be generous and reasonable. How can you be selfish and let the emperor dissolve the entire harem? Someone said politely. Although his words were polite, his attitude was somewhat aggressive. This lord is so funny. What does it have to do with me when the emperor wants to dissolve the entire harem? How can I become selfish? Also, if you persuade the emperor not to dissolve the harem, you have no selfishness at all? Yi Yang asked back. It's not that he doesn't know the thoughts of this group of people, or that he is afraid that his children will be dismissed from the palace. And he will have no support in the palace from now on. The minister who was attacked was instantly speechless. He was indeed selfish, because he did not want his children to be dismissed from the palace. Imperial concubine, since ancient times, emperors have been in groups of concubines. How could it be possible to abolish the rules that have existed since ancient times because of the imperial concubine? Rules are made by people, so people will naturally cancel them. Yi Yang was upset. These people are too lenient to manage other people's family affairs. They are so arrogant. Why don't they take the courage to manage the emperor's bed? But this is the rule set by the ancestors, how can it be easily cancelled by the back? Some people were dissatisfied with Yi Yang, and their words were inevitably a bit rushed. What, do you mean that the emperor is not worthy to cancel the rules set by his ancestors, or that the emperor is not worthy of future generations? He is not worthy to be the ancestor of future generations? Since he wants to mess with him, he will accompany them to the end. The high hat was buckled, and the minister instantly turned pale with fright. Seeing that the other party shut up, Yi Yang snorted coldly, and said, "It's better to take care of your own family affairs, everyone. The scientific examination will be soon, and I don't know how many people will stand out from this scientific examination. How many officials with no real knowledge will be demoted?" This scared the officials on the opposite side with tremors. You must know that many people in their clan were purchased with silver for official positions. If many talented and learned people stand out this time, then the first batch of people to be replaced are those who have no real talent and knowledge. Worried in their hearts, they didn't have the heart to trouble Yi Yang, so they all left in a hurry and went home to find a way to deal with the next thing. Zhun Yi learned that the ministers went to Jinghong Hall to find Yi Yang's trouble, and he hurriedly rushed from Xingchen Palace to Jinghong Hall with worry. But when he arrived, all the troublemakers were gone. Where are the people? Zhun Yi looked at the empty main hall and asked Yi Yang. Who? Yi Yang looked confused. I heard from Xiao Shunzi that some ministers are looking for trouble for you. What about them? Jun Yi was really worried just now, worried that Yi Yang would be hurt by this incident. Let's go away. Go? Jun Yi was very surprised. According to the harassment of the ministers, Yi Yang should be unable to resist. Do you still want to have dinner with me if you don't go? Oh, he wasn't in the mood to entertain them for dinner. How did you send them away? Jun Yi was very curious. He deeply understood how difficult the group of ministers were, and it was really difficult to get rid of them. He didn't know what method Yi Yang used to send those ministers away with ease. If he learned it, wouldn't he be able to easily dismiss those ministers in the future? Seeing the strong desire for knowledge on Jun Yi's face, Yi Yang pulled Jun Yi to sit down and talked about what happened just now. The imperial examination system recommended by Yi Yang this time has greatly weakened the strength of the aristocratic family, allowing underprivileged children to enter the dynasty without changing their surnames. The policy has been announced, and the noble family in the Holy City does not dare to oppose it rashly. No matter how powerful the noble family is, they dare not openly become enemies with the entire Holy Dynasty. This is what it means to win the hearts of the people and gain the world. This time, the imperial examination system won the hearts of the people. Although those aristocratic families wanted to resist, they chose to forbear in the face of the people of the Holy Dynasty, in order to consolidate their own power. These aristocratic families will definitely let the despised sons of the family participate in the scientific examination. But they don't know that these sons who have been suppressed all year round are the real-time bombs in their family. The scientific examinations in mid-July were carried out as scheduled across the country. The number of candidates who took the examinations was overwhelming. Anyone who knew a little bit of Braille went to the examinations. The scientific examination in the Holy City is much stricter than other states and counties. Each candidate is arranged to take the test in a separate cubicle. King Junhua himself sits in the examination room, so that those who want to cheat for personal gain give up their plans to cheat. This scientific examination took a total of 3 days. From the most basic knowledge to the management of the country and peace, wave after wave of students were eliminated. In the end, only more than 20 people successfully stood out from the hundreds and replaced the officials who were dismissed from office. I don't know if it's a coincidence or someone did it on purpose. Or because these students are excellent. These 20 people are actually looked down upon by people from different families. They changed from being bullied to officials overnight. Officials in the 6th and 7th ranks. Wearing official robes, for the first time, they really felt what it means to be human and what it means to be respected. They were greatly moved by the emperor's reforms. If it wasn't for the emperor's implementation of the imperial examinations, their generation would not be able to stand out. Either be bullied for a lifetime, or become a man's vassal. No matter what the ending is, it is not as good as their current ending. At least now they can hold their heads high and become a real person. As for the family members who had bullied them at the beginning, they showed disgust. Especially after some officials resigned. Not only did they not restrain their attitudes, but on the contrary, they were righteous and strict with the new rising stars, which successfully aroused both sides' contradiction. Among them, the most fierce ones were the Lin family's head and the newly appointed Holy Mansion, Lin Qiyu. Lin Qiyu's position in the family can be imagined because his mother is the lowest. So it is conceivable that he has been bullied by the direct son and daughter of the mansion since he was a child, and even the concubines will bully him. The servants in the mansion will also bully him. If he looks good, he can escape from the fiery Lin mansion by virtue of his appearance, but with his average appearance, he can only endure it slowly. He thought that he couldn't get rid of this nightmare-like place in this life, that his life would be such a bleak life, but he didn't know that when God closed a door for him, it also opened a window for him. With his excellent memory, he wrote down the knowledge he had secretly learned outside the window, and secretly signed up for this scientific examination. With his hard work, the Bright Day successfully won the top prize in this imperial examination and became the first champion of the new division in history. When he learned that he had been admitted to the champion, the whole person was blinded, and even the honor guard in the palace came to help him change into the festive red champion's clothes. It was not until he walked around the city and looked at the envious, jealous eyes of everyone that he knew how delightful it was to be watched by everyone. He thought that he would never forget this day in his life. He will never forget the kindness of the current sage in his life. It is the wise sage who made him experience this hard-won happiness. Therefore, when the patriarch of the Lin family, who was high in the past and never took him seriously, asked him to force the emperor not to disband the harem, he refused directly. Bold. Do you still take this old man seriously? Hearing Lin Chiyu's refusal, the head of the Lin family slapped the tea table beside him with an angry slap, making all the servants around him tremble with fear. Lin Chiyu feared the head of the Lin family from the bottom of his heart. After all, the terrifying majesty of the head of the Lin family penetrated into his soul, and he could not get rid of it in a short time. He said, "Lin Patriarch, now you are in the 6th rank of the official position. A person without an official rank is not qualified to talk to you like this." Bold. The old man is his grandfather. The old man has the right to control him, but you, who are you, Fang Xiaoxiao, dare to interject in the old man's mansion? In order to conceal that he is not as good as a junior, the head of the Lin family had to replace his cowardice with anger. The young man who was angrily scolded did not reject the furious Lin family head at all. He handed over his hands and said politely, "Under Lu Jiwan, the deputy of the Holy City will pass the sentence." If the emperor had not appointed him to disturb the relationship between the Huang Lin family head and Lin Chiyu, he would be a dignified man. Why should the first-class guards of the 3rd rank pretend to be officials of the 6th rank? When he heard that the other party was the deputy general, the head of the Lin family was instantly stunned, because there was no other official in the Lin family except Lin Chiyu in front of him. If this annoyed Lu Jiwan would definitely retaliate. He used to be an official in the court, but he understands the means of officials very well. It is not too simple to destroy a family with no background. At this moment, he somewhat regretted his previous reckless decision. And Lin Chiyu, who had been silent all this time, finally got used to his current status. He took a deep breath. His eyes suddenly became sharp. "Grandpa, I respect you as grandpa because my grandfather was the son-in-law of the Lin family, you guys. He once gave us the opportunity to live on in this world. I, Lin Chiyu, owe you the kindness, and I will repay it in other ways. However, if you force me to resign to force the emperor, I'm sorry. I can't do it. He will never forget the emperor's kindness in his whole life. If it wasn't for the emperor's introduction of the imperial examination system, he might have been bullied in the backyard for the rest of his life. It was the emperor who let him enjoy human rights. And it was the emperor who let him know what respect is and what human rights are. So in this life, he will never betray the emperor. Home. This old man sees that you have been confounded by that demon concubine, so." Lin Chiyu couldn't help but slapped his palm on the tea table beside him before he finished his swearing words. "Bold. How dare you slander the imperial concubine behind his back, and seek death? He has only 2 rebellious scales. The first is naturally the current sage, and the second is the emperor's imperial concubine. If anyone dares to speak ill of these 2, he is offending him for his scales. He would never tolerate others smearing the emperor's imperial concubine at will, even if the other party was his elder. Moreover, the imperial concubine has made so many contributions to the Holy Dynasty, and even if it is not praised, it is still misunderstood by so many people, and what is more, the imperial concubine is called a demon concubine that harms the country. To be honest, he is in favor of the emperor disbanding the harem. Because the emperor and the imperial concubine did not have the burden of 3,000 harem beauties, they would put all their energy into building a dynasty. How dare you yell at this old man? The head of the Lin family was yelled at by a junior, and he felt that he couldn't hold back his face, and his face was flushed with anger. If patriarch, you speak with discretion, how could I yell at you? So, you were yelled at by yourself. You. The Lin patriarch's breathing became disordered. Lin Qiyu didn't say more. He stood up and said indifferently, Patriarch, I came back today to see you. But your attitude disappointed me so much, don't call me back if you have nothing to do in the future. After that, he turned around decided to leave. Looking at Lin Qiyu who did not look back, Lu Jiwan looked satisfied. He quickly caught up with Lin Qiyu and left together. When the figures of the two disappeared from sight, the head of the Lin family came back to his senses. He looked at the empty main room and trembled with anger. Damn. A mere 6th-ranking person dares to show off his strength in front of this old man. When the old man was not dismissed from office. I am a dignified 3rd-rank official. Thinking that everyone in his family was scolded by him for resigning from office, the head of the Lin family was almost mad at himself at the time. Their Lin family has worked so hard to accumulate the status for so many years, but they have been squandered by their own will. At this moment, he regretted it, and wished to go back to the day when he was dismissed from office and slap him hard in front of the saint. There are many people who think the same way as him. When they felt that the concubine who was not on the stage was showing off in front of them, they regretted it so much that their guts turned green. Jun Yi listened to Jun Xiaoyi's report and learned that the officials who were dismissed were beginning to regret it. He felt at ease in his heart, and really wanted to see the regret of those officials with his own eyes. He was in a good mood, went to Jinghong Hall, and held Yi Yang often for a while. After the imperial examination, the second major reform of the Holy Dynasty was immediately ushered in. All children over the age of 6 can go to school. At the beginning, the officials in the court were still a little uneasy. After all, the Holy Dynasty is not small. And there are many children who read. At this time and a half, where can I find so many masters to teach children to read? Just when they were worried, a piece of appointment book was distributed from the palace to the top 10 students in each state and county. They realized later that why the imperial examination was held in each state and county in the first place. It turned out to be selected from among them excellent students, and then let them be appointed as masters to teach and educate people. When the students who had planned to eat and wait to die received the appointment letter, they were incoherent with excitement. Not to mention the generous monthly benefits, the mere fact that they can receive a salary when they retire at the age of 45 makes them so excited that they can't sleep for several days. Retirement salary, isn't this a generous benefit that only officers and soldiers have? They actually have it, doesn't that make them excited? The first day of August ushered in the most important turning point in history. All the school-aged children, carrying the little satchels their mothers sewed, happily ran into the school of their dreams, sitting upright on the stools, staring at the blackboard. Yes, the blackboard. This is no surprise, it is Yi Yang's idea again. The gentleman stood in front of the blackboard, picked up the book in his hand, and said to the newly enrolled children below, because the book has not arrived yet, we will read the text aloud in our first class. I will read it first, and you will follow it. Yes, sir. The children's faces flushed with excitement. And there was not a single child speaking in the huge classroom, and they looked at the gentleman on the podium excitedly. Okay. The man who became a teacher for the first time was also a little excited. He looked at the book in his hand. He had read this text no less than 100 times in the past few days. And he had already memorized it deeply. In his mind, but afraid of being wrong, he still stared at the words in the book, and read each word. A young man is wise, a country is wise. A young man is rich, the country is rich. A young man is strong, the country is strong, and a young man is independent. Yes, that's right. The first text at the beginning of the school was unified by Yi Yang, and the purpose was to cultivate children's patriotic feelings. And the chaos of the court at the beginning, under the joint efforts of Jun Yi and Yi Yang, took only 1 month to rectify. In time, many worms in the court were replaced with a group of truly powerful officials. Most of these newly appointed officials are the despised sons of aristocratic families. They know that such opportunities are not easy to come by, so for their responsibilities, they do their best to do their best.